of my administration. In the words of the former president of Malawi, Dr. Joyce Banda, the seeds of success in any nation on earth are best planted in women and children. Let me say this again. The seeds of success in every nation on earth are best planted in women and children. The sustainable development and success of Sierra Leone depends on the seeds of education we plant in our children now. In the past 5 years, my government has invested heavily in our young and dynamic population as we recognize that our most substantial asset is our human resources. Amid unprecedented global headwinds causing economic disruption since 2020, our investment in education increased from under 15% in 2018 to 22% of our annual budget. Money spent to support primary, secondary, higher technical and vocational education and training. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, it is deeply satisfying and encouraging to witness firsthand the positive impact of our free quality education initiative on citizens. Permit me to recount the testimonies that have stayed with me of a dynamic young girl called Aminata Litombo from Konya village. Ladies and gentlemen, before the advent of this administration, you can sit down now, please, lady. Before the advent of the free quality education, courtesy of the Sierra Leone People's Party.
Oh yes.
Aminata used to walk for more than 4 miles from my village to attend school. Unfortunately, she had to drop out of school at the age of 15 because her parents could no longer pay for her. This girl, filled with latent potential, was relegated to helping her own parents to sustain family, to support the family for nearly 2 years. Then came in the Sierra Leone People's Party. Fortunately, her passion for getting an education was rekindled when she heard about the administration's free quality education. And you know what she did? She re-enrolled at another school in 2020. And following her return, this brilliant young girl, at the age of 18, achieved the best Becker result in Puton district. Because of her outstanding performance, And because we recognize performance, my government selected her among other high-performing school children and youth to participate in the Transforming Education Summit at the United Nations. And the other meeting I co-chaired with the UN Secretary General in September 2022. This was our first time traveling out of Fujian district. But she didn't get everything because the new airport was not yet there. Just imagine what a life-transforming moment it was for Aminata to be among global leaders, policymakers, and fellow youth, rethinking innovative ways to transform education, not only in Sweden, but in the world. Aminata is currently in Freetown, excelling in her secondary school education and pursuing valid dream of being an educated woman. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, Aminata's experience is just one example of the success of this government's radical inclusion strategy on the field of education, which has also caught the attention of the international community. The impact and success of Sierra Leone's new transformational education policy have been lauded globally and solidified the nation's position as a champion of education. Our global standing was highlighted when I was unanimously appointed to co-chair the United Nations. Unanimously appointed to co-chair the UNESCO High-Level Steering Committee on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals to ensure inclusive, equitable, quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Furthermore, Sierra Leone's global standing for promoting universal access to education was highlighted when I co-chaired the Global Transforming Education Summit with the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres in 2022 and made one of the global champions for foundational learning. So our 2022-2026 partnership compact with the Global Partnership for Education. I am one of 5 leaders in the world to serve as champion of education. And it will interest you to know that I am the only leader in Africa chosen to be.
Parliament's hot right now. Parliament's hot.
Thank you. International recognition is important. It helps to project a positive narrative of the transformation underway in our beautiful country. But let me assure you and the entire world that our policy's impact on young people's life will always be the most important to me and to my government. As the nation's leader, my gratitude for being accorded the opportunity of education by my uneducated mother, a visionary of her time, drives my steadfast commitment to implement our administration's bold agenda for education. After 5 years of hard work, we now have a solid foundation from which to scale up the lost. In a relatively short time, we have galvanized significant support from partners and traditions to use our domestic resources to increase education funding to 4.1 trillion over the past 5 years. Our resource mobilization effort has provided over $200 million from the education sector since 2018. This investment has enabled us to support over 80% of 80% of schools with government subsidies. Order. At the same time, we have added around 1 million new learners and recruited over 300 education monitoring officers from 13 officers in 2018. Our investment has also improved learning outcomes with over 10 million books and teaching and learning materials supplied to them. Additionally, we have provided school feeding for over 600,000 learners, projected 800,000 by the extension to the Western area. My administration has increased teachers' salaries through the 5 years, including an increase of 10% for junior teachers in 2019. Our transportation allowance, a 30% increase, salary increase in 2020 for all teachers, and 45% increase in teacher salary for the next 3 years, 2023 to 2025 academic year, and an increase in staff wages by 75% of tertiary education institutions. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, I'm also pleased to highlight the positive changes in the gender dimension of education in Sierra Leone since I assumed office. The data is there for all to see. We have achieved gender parity in schools. Girls have higher retention and pass rate in all national transition exams. More girls are now studying STEM disciplines. And today they have higher transition rates into tertiary and vocational institutions. In line with our long-term vision to train more women, engineers, doctors, scientists, and innovators, we have also implemented a policy that funds free quality education from primary school through university for all girls studying STEM disciplines. Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, the Hands of Our Girls campaign champion by the First Lady has contributed to 37%. Championed by the First Lady has contributed to 37% increase in girls in school since 2018. Female pregnancy has dropped by 33% to 51,943 in 2022. Unmarried figures have also dropped dramatically because these guys are no longer allowed to give our children the hands of our children in marriage. That's why they left. Children now have the highest rate of completing primary school education in the entire West African sub-region. We should be very proud of our girls. They are future leaders of this nation in various fields, including medicine, engineering, and politics. They are also among the future mothers of this country. Ensuring they receive the best possible education is a national priority investment. We must continue to do all we can to equip our girls with essential skills to thrive in the 21st century and to nurture their potential as we scale up the investment in education of all our children. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, within the new millennium, evolving employment and business creation needs, basic and senior secondary level reforms have been matched with extensive reforms and investment in tertiary and vocational education. an amended Universities Act has removed me and political control over tertiary education and created three new technical universities: Lady Magai Teachers Technical University, Eastern Technical University, and the Cologne University of Science. University as I speak is under construction, not a fake promise. All students benefit from grants today. My government launched a student loan scheme for tertiary institutions, a manifesto commitment to opening up more technical and higher education access. Nearly a dozen technical and vocational training centers have been established or rehabilitated and are now operational in all regions of this country. We continue to work with partners to invest heavily in technical skills programs across industry to support industrialization and meet the needs of our growing economy. Modernizing the health care. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, improving the health of this nation is another primary focus of my government's human capital development agenda. It should be no surprise then that our investments in healthcare are unprecedented. My government has increased the annual budgetary allocation to healthcare from 6% in 2018 to 11.6% in 2021. We have constructed or rehabilitated 200 more healthcare facilities, supported specialist training of our doctors in-country, and recruited and trained over 5,000 more PIN-coded staff and an additional 8,700 community health workers recruited, which is a 50% increase since 2018. Additionally, we rolled out the Hospital on Wheels project that serves over 20,000 patients in 12 districts and installed 4 dialysis stations for treating over 700 patients. We introduced cervical cancer screening at 8 health facilities. The timely availability of essential drugs has improved by 90%. 3 HPV vaccines have been provided for nearly 200,000 girls, and hundreds of solar refrigerators are now available nationwide for vaccine storage. Due to these and many more investments in healthcare, we have made great progress on many health indicators in the last 5 years. Within our region, Sweden is performing well on several key indicators. Infant and maternal mortality have been reduced to far lower than the West African average. Children's immunization rates are among the highest in Africa. Stunting rates among children under 5 are lower than the average African average. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, international partners have applauded my government's pandemic preparedness and response because it was well structured, effective, and informed by science. Our policy choices and actions also minimized fatalities, one of the lowest in Africa, and the social impact of the pandemic on the poorest and the most vulnerable of our citizens. The social protection and safety nets we have implemented have continued supporting our most vulnerable citizens throughout the crisis through targeted cash transfers for livelihood sustenance. Our government secured additional grant financing of 30 million from the World Bank for the Social Safety Net project. This additional financing enabled the government to expand the coverage of cash transfers implemented by the National Commission for Social Action from 35,000 to over 100,000 extremely poor households. The Social Safety Net project has established the key building blocks for a basic national safety network system in Sierra Leone. Due to the successful implementation of the 30 million social safety project, which ends in June of this year, my government has secured another World Bank funding of 40 million to United States. The productive social safety net and youth empowerment project focuses on improving access to social safety net and income-generating opportunities for youth in urban and rural areas. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we have also registered some of the highest COVID-19 vaccination rates in the sub-region. Over 3.6 million citizens, that is 73%, are fully vaccinated, with 87.6 have received at least one dose of the vaccine. Agriculture. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the steep rise in global food prices due to COVID-19 pandemic disruption and the Ukraine-Russia war continues to impact consumer household budgets everywhere. My government is particularly concerned by the increase in food insecurity that so many of our fellow citizens face. Investing more smartly in agriculture sector thus remains a core priority to address this challenge. As Sierra Leoneans, we are blessed with fertile land and with great potential to produce more than enough food to meet our domestic needs. My working visit to Vietnam last year was an eye-opener that provided a vivid example of the challenge and opportunities before us. The agricultural similarities between our two nations are clear, so it is the stark contrast of farming outcomes. Vietnam and Sierra Leone have more than 5 million hectares of arable land and receive more than 5 months of heavy rainfall. Vietnam uses that to produce 44 million metric tons of rice and is net rice exporter. Here in Sierra Leone, we produce less than 1 million metric tons of rice, and we are net importers, mainly due to our unsustainable small-scale subsistence farming methods. This must change. We must put more seeds into our fertile soil and raise more livestock and poultry. Only by improving our local food production can we cushion the effects of global disruptions in our food prices, ensure food self-sufficiency, and transform our economy. Over the last 5 years, my government has implemented a policy shift in agriculture to drive this change. Using the public-private partnership model, we established a 10 million agriculture credit facility to de-risk and support private sector agricultural investment. We have provided more seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, and other agricultural inputs into over 12,000 farmers annually through the e-voucher system to boost food production. Also, we have established mechanized services, including 15 machine rigs, with over 400 tractors and power tillers nationwide. We have also reviewed and revamped the Sierra Leone Agricultural Research Act to address food insecurity. Following the productive mission productive mission at the Dakar 2 Summit on Food Sovereignty and Resilience convened by the African Development Bank, our nation is now actively engaged with the bank to develop an agricultural impact compact for over $500 million to improve agricultural productivity and food security. Due to this agricultural transformation policy shift and these investments, there is now more private sector activity in rice and value chains. This has resulted in a 21% increase in rice production, greater engagement of rural youth and women in agricultural business, and a 35% reduction in input distribution. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, agriculture remains the predominant sector of our economy, accounting for an average of 51% of our GDP over the last decade and employs approximately 65% of labor force, but mainly subsistence farming. While our great nation possesses high agricultural potential, agriculture yields and labor productivity remains extremely low, partly due to huge infrastructure bottlenecks and financing gaps. To feed our people, we must transition from being a net food importer to developing an agro-industrial zone in our rural areas to becoming net exporters of primary agricultural commodities. My SLPP administration's future aspiration to take advantage of our nation's soil wealth, grow agriculture as a business in climate smart ways, and leverage it as a fundamental source of job and wealth creation for national prosperity. This will inspire citizens, especially the youth, to see agriculture as a profitable and sustainable business. Building more resilient and inclusive economy. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, these transformational investments and impactful results since 2018 that I highlighted so far have been significantly enabled by our government's efforts to improve the nation's economy and debt management as soon as we assumed office. Our immediate reforms produced positive outcomes until the COVID-19 pandemic struck. GDP growth rate from 3.7% in 2018 went to 5.5% by 2019. Revenue generation surpassed 15% of GDP annually. We reduced the debt burden and brought inflation down to single digits. We have since been readmitted to IMF Extended Credit Facility Program. During the APC time, we were excluded. We have diversified and broadened the economic base by boosting mining, agriculture, fisheries, tourism, SMEs, and manufacturing productivity. Made in Sierra vegetable oil, soap, fruit juices, coffee, chocolate, plastics now exist. These essential products are consumed locally and exported to sub-regional and other markets. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I'm acutely aware of the difficulties we face as we navigate through the stormy waters of supply chain disruptions, rising shipping costs, and skyrocketing food and fuel prices. These global economic challenges have put immense pressure on our local economies, causing inflationary pressures that have hit the poorest members of our society the hardest. But in the face of these daunting obstacles, we must not falter. Instead, we must rise to the occasion and show the world the true strength of Sierra Leone. As we stand together in solidarity and resilience, knowing that our perseverance and hard work will ultimately lead us to a brighter future, let us draw the strength from our shared history and culture as we work towards a more prosperous and equitable future for all. The road ahead may be difficult, but I'm confident that with determination, grit, and a steadfast commitment to our values, we will overcome these challenges and emerge stronger and more resilient than ever before. To cushion the impact of these global headwinds, my government's quick action economic response program has been put in place, providing, among other things, one, a special credit facility through the Bank of Sierra Leone with 2 tranches of 50 million United States dollars each during the COVID-19 pandemic to support the importation of essential commodities. 2, another food facility of 50 million during the ongoing Ukraine-Russia crisis to support the importation of rice, flour, sugar, and many more. 3, a 36 million reserve fuel facility for fuel importation. Furthermore, to avoid the shortage of essential commodities and stabilize prices, my government has maintained zero import duty and GST on imported rice, deferred taxes on the importation of essential supplies during the COVID-19 pandemic, and reduced taxes on certain essential items, including cement and iron rods. Beyond that, we have also prioritized local food and agriculture production, even securing a 1.8 million grant from the ADB under the African Emergency Food Production Facility to support farmers with agriculture inputs. Over 30,000 hectares of rice have been cultivated, and there was a 21% increase in production between 2021 and 2022. I'm happy to report that we did not import rice seeds for the first time in decades for the year 2021-2022 planting season. Despite limited development assistance and investment finance inflows due to the continuing global economic downturns, we have maintained strong relationships with our development partners, kept existing businesses, and attracted additional investors, especially in mining, light manufacturing, and the construction sectors. Youth job creation schemes and access to innovative financing have boosted overall job figures. Salaries and pensions have been increased to keep in step with living costs. Teacher salaries have received between 10 to 45% increase since 2018. Entrepreneurship promotion initiatives have been implemented, particularly for women and youth, introducing a digital biometric ID card and modest reforms in the financial services sector means more financial inclusion and access to credit, especially for women and young people. According to several objective global indicators, my government has achieved the highest marks for gender in the economy and access to credit than any other of its predecessors. With this reform-minded thought, I intend to do even more in my second term. Thank you. not finished for the second time. I'm pleased to highlight that we have been careful in borrowing and spending. It is worth noting that the debt my administration is servicing, we are not contracted only in the past 5 years, but also debts that were inherited from the previous APC administration. Over the last 5 years, this administration has spent money on all the things to build schools, roads, bridges, to educate our children and train our young people, and to equip them to face a competitive world and develop and strengthen our healthcare system in the face of a deadly pandemic. We have managed public resources judiciously and not overborrowed or spent recklessly like before. Indeed, the evidence of how we have utilized public funds to improve our society is nationwide. Our inclusive new direction transformation agenda has included every district and province. Mr. Speaker, there is still an enormous task ahead of to build more schools, tertiary institutions, and healthcare facilities, and equip them with modern technology and equipment. There is considerable work to be done to turn our rural areas from zones of economic misery to economic prosperity through agriculture. There is more to do to light up and to power remote villages and to give them access to potable water, among many other things. Mr. Speaker, I will not rest in my effort to build a more inclusive and resilient economy. Tourism, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government's decision to prioritize tourism as a key policy for economic diversification, job creation, and growth